But we'll start off with a team that made it to the Final Four, the Danville Blue Devils. I welcome in head coach Matt Blum. Coach, as always, a pleasure to see you, and welcome. It's another season of football. It can't get any better, right?
Yeah, can't complain at all. We're getting ready to go.
Well, first, before we start talking about 2025, let's talk about a little bit about 2024. You guys, you broke through. You won a regional championship. You were close against Hillsdale as well to making it to Canton, but that was a special season for this squad. You pretty much ran through almost all the teams on the schedule, but just one more chance for you to reflect on that great year you had.
You know, it was a good year. We had a really good senior class last year. Obviously, we're going to miss guys like Josh Byers, Caleb Lucas, Aiden Burke, Blake Colpy, to name a few. Josh Byers and Caleb Lucas are going to play at the next level at Ashland University, so they're going to take their talents to the next level. But a special group of kids, and they really sustained the standard. That was our motto last year. Like you had already mentioned, they broke down the wall, and we got to the Final Four, which was special, really special for us, because it's been a lot of hard work, with our boys. So that was obviously a special moment, and just being able to sustain the throughout the seasons. We have new kids, we reload. But being able to have success every year in and year out, is special. So, but that's our standard here, and that's what's going to continue to happen.
A tough loss to Hopewell early on in the season. You lost to Northmore, winning the championship and winning a regional as well. I guess talk about the KMAC. I always say the KMAC is one of the most underrated small school conferences in the state of Ohio, for the fact that you constantly see district champions, but 2 of 28 teams remaining in the state of Ohio were KMAC squads.
No, I just think in general it's a deep league. I think, it's kind of cliche, but week in and week out you have a battle. And that's what we ran into last year. Obviously, Northmore was a fantastic team, and they earned it every single week. They had a great year. But, I thought Centerburg was a really good team. Fredericktown was a good team. Mount Gilead was a good team, just to name a few there. It's going to be like that this year. I think everybody, has different pieces coming back, and it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. But I think you're exactly right. I think year in and year out, it's a very competitive league, one that's good to be a part of. Our goal is to compete for a conference title every year, and that's what we're going to aspire to do. In the 3 years I've been here, we've been top 2 in the league every single year. We won it a couple years ago, so that's our standard, and that's what we're going to try to achieve.
Yeah, and you're talking about having to reload some players, but you do return one of the best up-and-coming running backs. At least the second half of the year, we saw what he could do. Cy Wallace, he really came on, what was it, about game 4 or 5?
Yeah, I would say later half of the year, week 5, week 6 is kind of when we started to put more on his plate. Obviously, being a freshman, you want to handle those situations a little bit different, but it was just hard to not, not give him the ball and keep him off the field. So he's a very special kid, and he's going to be able to play both sides of the ball this year for us at running back, safety. We're going to be able to move him around a little bit. So we're definitely going to have some athletes get the ball. And now we got to put them in the right positions to be able to succeed.
Yeah, it's just crazy that he came in game 5. He did get to play 10 games for the season, and he got over 1,000 yards. Just to see that for a freshman, Danville football, how to run the ball, how to play defense, but he's one of those typical Danville players.
He did some special things, man. In our week, I think it was 13 playoff game against Miller, he ran for 294 yards, which was second all-time in school history. And he actually broke our single-season yards per carry record for 12 yards at attempt, which is just it's crazy. And even playing that safety position, he finished with 80-plus tackles. So, he's a ball hawk, man. And I can't speak to the level of what type of kid he is. He's a great leader, even as a sophomore. Type of kid, never misses a workout, 6 a.m. workout. And those are the types of kids you want to win with and battle with. So we're blessed to be able to have him and many others.
Just take a look at your schedule coming up, though, Coach. At Worthington Christian, you took care of them. Utica, and then you're home against Lucas. The rivalry back on the turf, and then you get into conference schedule. But first, it's you want to get out of the gate good early on the right step. Worthington Christian, they're going to be a little bit better this year. Lucas is always Lucas, and you got Utica. But those two of those 3 non-conference games, it's got to be good to have a good start at home, and then you get Northmore at home as well. Cardington and East Knox Devil Dog always always a special one. But what do you think about your schedule this year?
Yeah, I mean, 2 out of our 3 non-conference opponents are Division 5 opponents, so we're playing up and
bonus
you know,
points too for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we want to play the best competition possible, and those are 2 that we've had, and we're really excited to get Lucas back on the schedule. I think that's one that I would like to play every year if possible. Just because 2 very similar type communities.
Yes.
I'm glad to get that one back on the schedule, and kind of like we already talked about with the league, I think top down it's going to be very competitive this year, and we're just going to have to bring our lunch pail every single week and compete and strain every rep and finish. So.
And I mean, Danville football on the offensive side, it's running. On the defensive side, it's just like you said, lunch pail, gritty. You graduate a lot from last year. A lot of your top tacklers from a team that only allowed 156 points in 15 games. I mean, that's a crazy number to think about. But despite losing a big amount of guys, it's Danville. You guys have those players that can make that next step. Yeah,
we're fortunate. We bring back 6 starters on the defensive side of the ball, because once we got towards the end part of the year, we were able to start getting some sophomores, even some freshmen, some reps. So even though we lose a good chunk of our production defensively and offensively, I still feel pretty good in the guys we return. And we're going to be a little bit of a younger team. Sophomores and juniors are going to be playing a lot. We have a smaller senior class, only 7 kids, so which are still all going to have big roles. But we're going to have a lot of sophomores and juniors on the defense side of the ball and offense. So, we're counting on guys to step up, and that's kind of, we're in that in-between period right now. We've only seen each other and seen ourselves in practice. So we have New York Catholic tomorrow in a scrimmage, and we're really excited to kind of see where we're at, kind of gauge and get better for week 1.
Newark Catholic, the perennial power in the small school ranks, so you're going to get a good judge at that. But like I said, week 2, Utica at home. You open up the new turf. Danville has turf. Just talk to me about how that just came to be. I mean, we saw the Mud Bowl a couple years ago against East Knox 2 seasons ago. That it was sloppy, everything like that. But who brought the idea up of getting turf? And how did it just come to be?
I think this has kind of been a big process in the making. I think you really mentioned the culprit there with the East Knox Mud Bowl game. Not really that game itself, but losing the opportunity to play 2 home playoff games on that field.
That's right, you played at Mount Vernon.
We played at Mount Vernon for 2 games. And then this past year, we had a mud game against Loudonville. It wasn't as bad, but we lost a JV game at home, a junior high game at home. So all these situations really made us evaluate our playing surface. And another thing I didn't mention, we weren't able to practice on our game field for the last 4 weeks of our season because it was just terrible shape. So, me and one of my other coaches, my defense coordinator, Charlie Duncan, we really came together and, came up with a plan of how can we get, a better situation, a better field. And, there's so many community members that stepped up, Tony Mickley, Mark Hawk, Michael Hawk, Dave Hawk, Doug Hawk, and we really all came together and formed our committee and made this happen. So there was just a lot of people that put a lot of work and a lot of time in the shadows to make it happen. And now we have something we can truly be proud of. And